You think you get there, and there it is. So, hi. Morning shows with you, and my hair is obviously not, and it doesn't matter what the headset does. John here, you there. Thanks for hanging out for Thursday Thoughts. And we kind of go all over the place this morning. I know that surprises all of you. Coming up in about 10 minutes, Darin Van Tassell from South Georgia Tormenta is going to join us. We're going to talk about the announcement, official that happened during the show yesterday, where the USL has decided that they are going to institute promotion relegation in concert with the new league that they are planning in a couple of years. So anticipating 27-28, 2027, comma, apostrophe 28, that they will have a promotion relegation with 3 leagues in place. And so we'll have a DVT coming on a match day as they get ready for U.S. Open Cup. And so we're going to talk about Open Cup. We'll talk about the USL announcement. We'll talk about what else is going on in USL, in USL League One. So that's the notification. I don't know if you heard that in your ears. I heard it in mine, where once again, I'm still battling the battle of not having enough storage space on the desktop. I'm still trying to figure out how to clean things out when you sit there and it's like, yeah, I thought I cleaned out 52 gigs yesterday by dismantling one of the drives, and it's like, nah, you didn't do it. So that's the fun part this morning. So that hasn't changed. I still have a computer that is filled with information that I don't know how it got filled with information, unless it's like cookies or something, and then I have to spend like 9 days trying to clear out cookies. But then that's hour number one. Then we'll catch you up with all the news of the morning, catch you up with what happened last night in Open Cup. And you had some moments in Open Cup, and then you got activity tonight in Open Cup as well. We'll let you know about all the cup sets and everything that happened yesterday. Get you ready for today with juice boxes. Then at 10 o'clock, it is hour number 2, where we start fully loaded with our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV down in Peru. Couple of signings, or at least desired signings, by Chelsea from Sporting in Portugal, and one of them was with Giovanni Kenda, and we've talked about Kenda a lot. So it looks like Ruben Amorim wants to try to bring over a lot of his players, but because of the current financial situation at Manchester United, he ain't able to. So, problem there. And then after that last half hour of the show, it'll be our buddy Niko Moreno from GOLTV, and he will break everything from Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports, and he'll break everything down in Major League Soccer for match week 4, do juice boxes from his perspective for match week number 5, and we'll get you ready for that, because once again, it is going to be one of those instances where you really got to pay attention to international duty. Really have to. And so we'll find out what's on Niko's mind. We'll find out what's on Nino's mind. We'll find out what's on your mind here for the next 2 hours. And since it's been so darn long since I've actually activated anything on WhatsApp, it's going to be one of those mornings where we try and figure out what's going on so I can tell Nino what is going on, and then he can sit there and go, yeah, we need to activate things. So, yes, that's me. And so I would like it if, I don't know, it's like all I want is for the QR code to pop up. That's all I want. I'm not asking for much, so I can let Nino let Nino know what's going on. Literally, that's how the that. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those mornings. So that's the rundown for today. And if there's anything else that I forgot, once again, lay it all out there for us, and we'll have all of the discussions about anything and everything that's going on in and around that is going on in and around everything that's attached to the world of soccer. So who knows? Who knows if you're going to have anything made available? Yeah. So I think it's already going to be one of those mornings. We do know that last night our friends at El Farolito in the NPSL knocked off Real Monarchs late. Real Monarchs went down to 10 men, and you end up with the opportunity for a penalty kick in the second 30 minutes. I want to say it was in the second extra 15 when it happened. And so you had that moment that happened late last night. But like I said, we'll go through all of the we'll go through everything that went down in the Open Cup yesterday, and we will break all of that down for all of you, in addition to anything and everything else that we have going on this or any other planet, literally. Big news yesterday from our friends at the Marshall Island Soccer, the Marshall Island Soccer Federation. So really cool stuff. They sent out their Kickstarter yesterday involving the project where they're going to have August 14 through 16 their first ever Outrigger Cup. And it's going to be a 4-team 11v11 tournament that's going to be in Springdale, Arkansas. They're going to play it at John Brown University. And after one day, they've gone past 10% of their requested goal to meet for that particular tournament in Springdale, Arkansas. So very, very cool stuff from our friends there at the Marshall Islands. We're going to catch up with Lloyd Hours and probably Matt Webb from the Marshall Island Soccer Federation Tuesday morning on the network in the 9 o'clock hour, and we'll get you ready for everything else that's going on from them. We'll get the update. We'll find out what's going on with Lloyd. We'll find out what's going on with the Fed. And by the way, Jillian Sakovitz got a jersey. I guess this is technically opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. I would recommend Soccer Fed MI on the 280 character app and on all the other places. Yesterday, Jillian, full disclosure, put out there on social media that she picked up a jersey. I don't know if it was the original or if it was the 2030 No Home kit, but Jillian, Jillian's got it. We might have to just send her a scarf anyway. So what we may end up doing is we'll send Jillian one of our scarves that we have here as a part of our group on the other side of this door. So if you want to get Marshall Islands gear to help them out, go to the Soccer Federation website. Get all the jerseys, the bucket hats, everything. It's all the way over there. You order it in England, they ship it from England. You want a scarf from the Marshall Islands, you get it from me. Like I said, I got about a dozen before I have to reorder on the other side of this door. And once again, they met 10% of their Kickstarter goal after one day of putting it out there that they've got a 4-team tournament slated for Springdale, Arkansas, August 14 through 16. Yeah, we're already probably thinking of going. So, well, that's full disclosure. All right. So anyway, he is the man about town, and he's on a match day, and he has graciously said that, yeah, I'll come on, but probably because it's early enough in a match day where he can sit there and it's like, yeah, I think I can swing it. So for this, we go down to Statesboro and catch up with a friend of the network, Darin Van Tassell in South Georgia Tormenta, and find out what's going on with the buzz of the announcement where USL has decided in a couple of years, DVT, that it's going to be pro rel on the clock. Has it sunk in yet?
About that.
Has it sunk in?
About that. The conversation moved from people like you and I talking about it privately to league owners talking about it to I see it on Galazzo and ESPN last night. So we've got people's attention. Mm-hmm. Now our goal is to do the next part, and we'll dive into the work. Listen, there's plenty of details. We're going to get some things wrong on all this. And it's just a fun announcement. It's a great announcement. And I think our league and I think the sport needs it. It's time. Let's go. It's not going to be without some challenges, but it's got giant upsides.
Well, and you mentioned that, and I know that a lot of folks, they gravitated toward the announcement, but I think the biggest thing is that you still kind of have to use your first time out here on the day and go, this isn't something that's happening tomorrow. We've been talking about it for 4 or 5 years, but we still have another couple, and there are some dominoes that have to fall in place with the proposed Division I league. So you have the 3 steps that are there. This isn't something that's happening tomorrow, even though there's been all of this talk that it's been coming.
That's right. And we can't get to the next steps unless we had the announcement and when we had the vote. Listen, I give the league some credit. The league put structures together for us, but this was really the owners that pushed it through. It was owner led, and it took some time to get to it. It's a big shift, but I think fans are going to gravitate towards it. For soccer fans that this matters to it, it's a big deal. For future fans that they don't know about it, I do think the umbrella opens up a bit more where we get to get some of those folks in too. But listen, I think it beats the status quo, and we didn't want to stick with the status quo. I think sports all over our professional landscape in the United States, whether it's baseball with a pitch clock, whether it's football, American football changing kickoffs, and all the things that go on the NBA. It was our turn as pro soccer to do something, and it was something that I think we've just been missing from day one. So, listen, this is a fun and exciting time for us. It's happening in the middle of March Madness. It's happening in the middle of the Open Cup. The timing's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a couple of years to for the first teams to get promoted and relegated, and then we'll get even more attention.
And then you had, like I've mentioned to you in the past and publicly, I've said I'm just waiting for that first owner to sit there and have the Veruca Salt moment, or the Chappelle Show, Rick James moment on the sofa, where you're just kind of going like this, no, 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 but you got to deal with the consequences here.
Yeah,
you said it passed supermajority. This wasn't something where there was infighting or anything like that. So supermajority, I think, is big. I'm just still waiting for the trepidation for the owners. It's like, oh crap, we really have to focus on staying up in our league now.
Well, you've got to play better. You've got to play well in this system, and I think some of us were wanting to make sure that message was also sent. You've got to play well. This is we're keeping scores, and we want to put our best foot forward. Listen, in our own club, we've got to do better with our own ticket sales and get stadiums finished, and those are challenges that we're up for. Every club gets to do this their own way, but a path is there. If you're part of the USL, the path exists. And listen, we're in celebratory mode. We got an Open Cup game tonight. I don't want to shift it off of Pro Rel too soon, but I've been watching these Open Cup matches, John, and the amateur teams are playing. I mean, they have put some squads together, and they've really been testing the pro teams in this first round. So, so you're right. As soon as we get done here, I need to get my attention turned to game day. But back to Pro Rel, this is fun. This is exciting stuff. We've been hoping for it. And listen, soccer fans, give us a chance to make some mistakes along the way. But I think there's going to be some real interesting stuff that gets proposed, and we'll vote on it again as owners. And here we go.
When it comes to the economics of it, I think that's probably one of the things that, that I know that you, as an owner and a steward of the game, and knowing that this is the next step in this for USL, for everyone that you associate with.
Mm-hmm.
For me, obviously, I'm, and it was stuff that you had mentioned yesterday, where there are things within USL that have to improve to be ready for this, from on the field and off the field. And I think that, we sit there, and you don't have to get bogged down in market size to sit there and say, well, obviously, right, they're the smallest market of whatever. They're obviously going to be behind the proverbial 8 ball from the beginning. That's not necessarily the case. It's how you invest from this moment forward, and how you want to tackle what's going on to determine your own viability. This isn't something where throwing money at a problem is going to be, or the next challenge is going to be, the absolute solution. It's how you navigate that to get to have the economics so you can survive, I think, is probably the biggest thing here.
Let's just kind of take a step back here. We are in a league right now. It's 2025. Mm-hmm. We've got to win games. We got to put a good product on the field. We got to sell tickets, and we're winning championships. Yeah. And we're going to try to do the same thing in 26.
Right.
By the time we get to 27, I think, and by the way, I'm talking as me, not as a member of the sporting committee of the USL. By the time we get to 27, that's probably our first shot at, do we get ourselves, aligned for what's next. We don't know. It's too early to know those things. But if you win, mm-hmm, there's going to be prize money. If you move up to help handle what some of those new expenses will be, it's up to clubs to decide what their contracts are with players. That's no different.
Right.
If people want to spend a lot of money and they spend less money, I mean, that's the proverbial challenge every owner in sports has, where you're the Miami Marlins or the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
But so that's no different. It's just a different scale. This is not recreation leagues where it's just all about participation. So I think this is where clubs have to be smart. We've got to run our businesses better. I've certainly got to do that with our own club in terms of what we're doing here. So we got to get smarter. You've got to build sustainable stadiums and stadium centered districts, which is what we're doing here. That's how we think we'll protect ourselves and be able to handle the finances. But yeah, the finances are real, but we're playing pro soccer. No one walked into this with an idea that we weren't. And getting positioned for what's next is what we've asked of ourselves. So we need fans to help us with that because we've got to have stadiums that are filled. Listen, I don't speak for U.S. Soccer on these things, but as we go through and we look at what the definitions are of first division, second division, third division, those are important part of sanctioning. And I did that a lot when I was part of the International Baseball Federation, so I have some sense of how all that works. The what those become in a system where teams are going to be able to move up and down based on meritocracy.
Yeah.
I think U.S. Soccer is willing to join us on that adventure and think about what that looks like. I would much rather see X percentage of stadiums filled than have stadiums with a certain size in them, for example. I just think it's more fun. But I'm not on the U.S. Soccer sanctioning committee. We'll see. I just think there's some fluidity that's coming. We've got some time to figure it out. We've got a lot of our own infrastructure to build and put in place, which we're well underway with that. We've got a lot of the retail parts of the stadium development done and getting going on some of the housing pieces that are there too. So, every club's got its own stories to do it. And I don't know that part's different. What's different is you're going to get rewarded if you win, and you get some new people to play on a schedule. Let's go do it.
How much convincing do you think you need to do when it comes to the footprint, the community, possible sponsors? Because, here in the United States, unless, if you're a fan of leagues overseas, if you're a fan of leagues, in Central and South America, about promotion relegation, about the second divisions in all of these different countries. Here in the United States, the consistency of, okay, we're going to have this league. It's going to be in this manner, and we're going to do the same thing next year. It's what folks are used to. It's part of the established,
Sure.
I guess, DNA of what's going on. The folks across the parkway that play on a different, football Saturday, there's no promotion relegation there, where if they did well, they could drop into the ACC or the SEC or something like that. They're just used to either being in Division I AA or they're being in the Fun Belt. There's no up and down there. How much convincing do you think you're going to have to sit there and mention to your fan base and to those in and around the communities that could be a part of this in various different ways about this being a possibility of a new normal?
I think soccer one-on-one is already a challenge for us. This just gets us to add to what the next chapter of that soccer 101 class looks like. Listen, we already play in different tournaments while we're going on with the regular season. Nobody else does that in pro sports in our country, although the NBA has, showed us a little bit of something and connected it to the regular season. So it's a different piece. I think it's a fun one to take on. Yes, absolutely. There's some education to help out with the casual fan and the super sports fan, but let's go do it. Let's take it on. I don't think there's much education to the soccer fan. Now, I want to get our stadium next phases done so people don't feel like they're coming to a construction site. That's going to be fun for us, but that's a Tormenta story.
Yeah.
We're part of a league that's given us a pathway to move forward. And if you're already a part of what we're doing and a sponsor and a fan, great. If the next phase of what's coming down the stretch, whether it's our things we're building at Tormenta, much less the league pathway that's going on, if that makes it more interesting, great. But I do think it it does resonate when folks feel that, this is not just something in just our area, but it's connected to things that are more global and national. I mean, both of those things. Well, it resonates with me. Maybe it won't resonate with others, but I think that's a legitimizer that we're all going to benefit from. And listen, I don't want to ever be in that game at the end of the season that the winner doesn't get relegated, but what a match that will be. I will be tuning in. I hope I'm not there as an owner.
Where is the stadium project right now when it comes to you mentioned the commercial component that's there. You're working on the residential component. Where is the stadium component right now in the process of its build?
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of the retail almost completely buttoned up now, from Publix down to Chick-fil-A and a whole bunch of things in between, and moving on the next pieces on some of the residential development. And then, listen, I expect a very active construction year at the stadium this year. And, fans that are watching on TV who give us, fun about our dirt piles, those are fun. Those are our Red Rocks moments. It's good. Listen, it's all coming. It's taken the process has been far more lengthier than we ever wanted it to be, but it's coming, and it allows us to have the kind of facility that lets us dive right into, promotion, relegation along the way. Listen, right now we can only be promoted, so this is a pretty good deal for us.
I was going to say, it's like, yeah, you're sitting there and it's like pressure's on everybody else right now. It's like,
Yeah.
we're in League One, and it's on the rest of y'all to sit there. It's on the challenge is on you to assemble a product and a property in a three-dimensional sense, not just on the field but off,
Mm-hmm.
so you can be ready for that promotion and play well within your league, and get ready. When you look at USL League One this year, you
Mm-hmm.
lose some pieces, you've added some pieces have already said they're coming in. When you look at, once again, the continued growth of USL League One, you're starting to get the northeastern footprint, worked out with some franchises there. You did
Mm-hmm.
lose some pieces out west, but once again, you bring in AV Alta. They're a part of building that western footprint, but the southeast continues to add. Sarasota's on its way in. FC Naples is already established. Those two teams have already had their own first little street fight in Open Cup, where you almost had two fights and a bunch of red cards at the end of
That game. Yeah.
a match where it was 1-0, then it was 1-1 with 3 to go, and then you end up with a 2-1 with Naples. When you look at the growth of USL League One to prepare itself as a part of this idea for promotion relegation, where do you see USL League One right now?
Well, I think it's the most exciting league in the United States, quite frankly. We're here to win and support our communities. We're here to develop players, and once the system is fully in place, we can put together a team that can, maybe climb ladders as well. There's a lot of teams coming into our league. I think even next year we may be in an east-west sort of divide. That's got to come for us. We need, and listen, is there ultimately 3 and 4 divisions in League One? Maybe. We got to have enough teams to do that. I do think we're not far off from, a League One. By far off, I mean, listen, I don't think promotion relegation is far off. So forgive me for my timeline. But 5 years out, I think we're at a league that has 36 teams in it, maybe. In League One, I think the championship probably gets to be about 24, 26, and the first division, which, if they don't call it the Premier Division, I don't know where else it's going to be called, but I haven't heard that yet. That's a number that'll stay national. I think that's how we've talked about promotion relegation happening. And once we kind of get the dust settled, all new teams are going to come in through League One and have to fight their way up to the top. Now we got to get a first division that's saturated to do that, and that's going to involve some new folks. But how that works, I don't know. I don't know which existing USL Championship teams would like to make the jump. I mean, theoretically, a League One team could make the jump. None of us are openly talking about those things. Meeting those standards. So I think that there's some out of the championship. Quite frankly, I think most of them are going to be new franchises, if I had to guess, along the way. But We'll see. I think the next 6 months are going to offer a lot of intel on what's next, and here we go. But we had to get an announcement out, and to do it, we had to take a vote. And when it came time to do it, our ownership group moved quickly and they moved swiftly, but they did not move recklessly. And I applaud us all for getting ready when it was time to do it.
Darin Van Tassell, president, co-owner of South Georgia Tormenta, hanging out with us here to discuss the USL, the Pro Rel announcement, Open Cup, all the things about that's going on right now in Statesboro with Tormenta here for the 2025 season. Another couple of minutes because I know you're on a match day, and that's my next question. Since you're on a match day, you're an Open Cup. We kind of have already kind of alluded to the chaos that is there. You can't sleep on folks. El Farolito last night in PSL, they went out and took Real Monarchs to the extra 30. They got the Dukes, so your NPSL reigning champs have made it through. You can't sleep on what's going to happen tonight there in Statesboro with your first matchup.
Thankfully, our club, and if you have a club run by Ian Cameron as our head coach, the Gaffer does not. There's no time taken off, so there is no sense at all about amongst our players, amongst our staff. Folks are hungry. This is a hungry team. We did not perform well last year, and so we've been hungry for a while. And hopefully that will be able to continue to help us grow and to crystallize where we are this season. So Harbor City, listen, they're going to give us their best shot. We're going to give them their best shot. It's the best part of the Open Cup. Let's go. But I can promise you it won't be from lack of preparation or understanding how important this game is, from our side.
No doubt about it. For those who,
by the way, soccer in this country has gotten so much better. I mean, everybody's good. There are good players at all levels. The Open Cup gets to show us once again just how much that exists.
And you sit there and you go, "Oh, I think that might work here." And so that way, it's the financials that are attached to all of that. Once again, you sit there and you look at a player maybe at a Soda City who caused a great deal of chaos in the UPSL as they were chasing after a championship. You sit there, oh, I like that. And then that helps out Soda City, and that helps out the UPSL, and that helps out, their league. And then you sit there and, Harbor City might have somebody. So it's all the symbiotic relationships that we see when it comes to the Open Cup being that door that opens up to talent that you once again may not.
Isn't it a great tournament? Isn't it a great tournament? We should let's just keep celebrating it. We need to win, and listen, nobody wants to get put out early in the Open Cup, but it is it touches on all the things that are right about sporting events.
All right, so cut the promo for me tonight, match time, all the things when it comes to what's going on with Tormenta and Open Cup and next home dates in League One and all that stuff.
Yeah, 7:00 tonight. Harbor City FC from Florida will be making the trek up. They're in their preseason. Getting ready to start. We've got a couple games under our belt, but it's still early. So this one will be a good time. 7:00 start. I think Open Cup folks got everything going on YouTube this particular time. And then we get our old nemesis, Union Omaha, the defending champs in Statesboro next Saturday. Last year, they got to celebrate winning the regular season on our field. They had a lot of champagne. I think there were 36 bottles.
Wow.
So nobody's keeping score.
No.
And it's a club that has given us fits with time. So anyway, that's what's next on the lineup. It's spring break here in Statesboro. So we've got almost 30,000 Georgia Southern University students not here. So we've got to press our buttons even more to really pull the folks together. But the weather looks pretty good. I think a little rain around lunchtime, and looks like some winds are going to come in. So it could be a pretty windy game. I think whoever wins the coin toss should get the win for the first half and try to score early.
Yep, I think
that's my breakdown.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to go down. Darin, as always, thank you for your candor. Thank you for opening up the door so folks can understand what's going on, especially when all they hear about is a meeting behind closed doors and ABCD&E happened. As always, thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, bring me on anytime. We'll keep talking about the Pro Rel as much as we can be made public. And listen, right here in my room, I keep the fire alarm right there just in case we ever have to pull it.
As always, my friend, great to see you. Stay away from the fire alarm, sir.
Yeah. All right. Be well. Thank you.
All right. There's DVT. And He's on a match day, and so he went into the office early to go and hang out with us. But as always, when it comes to things that happen in USL, and then I mean, Darin has been with us from the absolute beginning, and so it's a point that we both make in separate aisles of the grocery store where we've been with each other from the beginning. We've seen the growth of what's happened in Tormenta, going into USL, doing all the different things, all the different places, USLW, all of that. So we've seen the championships, we've seen the growth, and now we're seeing the growth in this particular stage. And so literally when we knock on a door and it's like, okay, hey, we'd like to ask some questions. And then Darin is an incredibly open and honest about what goes down. I mean, he's not going to tell us everything because there's some stuff that has to stay behind closed doors. But when it comes to the process, when it comes to the anticipation, everything else that you have to tackle in these kinds of situations, it's great that we have a resource and a reference like DVT who can come on and let us know. I've always maintained that that South Georgia Tormenta is like the Green Bay Packers of USL. It might be in one of the smaller markets that is attached to the league, but just because you're in a small market, and that was the point that I wanted to make early on in the conversation when it came to economics, that just because you're in a small market doesn't mean you're not going to invest for like 9 negatives that my mother, the English major, is going to kill me over. So it's the level of investment that you have. Once again, it's not tied to who you are, but there will be challenges coming up the next couple of years of, okay, getting sponsors to latch on. I know that there have been reports and interest of larger investment, foreign investment. Those words have been out there in the ether without any names attached to them. But this is going to be an important next couple of years for USL as they work toward the establishment of this first division league. And, like I said, we mentioned yesterday in the interview that Paul McDonough had with Agence France Presse, where everything starts with that new league that's coming in, and then everything goes from there. So that's where we are. But to have someone like Darin who can come in and kind of break things down, and that's why I wanted to ask about the concerns that he has, the education, because right now, the leagues that you're attached to here, on the professional level, it is like, all right, it is what it is. USL Championship is what it is. You're chasing after playoffs and a title. USL League One, chasing after playoffs and a title. There is no up and down. There is no escalator. MLS does not have an escalator with MLS Next Pro. So it is all of these different pieces that are coming together here that we're looking at. And like I said, it's going to be a couple of years, but to see the intended growth and to see USL attempt to tackle all of these issues about the economics that will be attached, bringing in these teams that might be in USL Championship currently that want to be a part of the Division I league, what's the level of investment going to have to be so they can be ready for it? All of these different questions that are here will be what will be monitored going forward. And that's the rub in all of this, because it's going to come down to the financials. Are you going to have enough folks line up for whatever the fee is going to be a part of that Division I league? There will be teams in markets that will sit there and go, well, yeah, I'm in. Well, it's going to be something that is entirely different, and you're trying to gauge, okay, who's serious and who isn't. Who is on the outside right now that is serious? How serious are you? What's the price tag going to be to go into this new league, first and foremost? All of these different economics that are going to be attached to it. What sponsors that haven't had the chance to get into the door of wanting to be a part of the soccer landscape get to be a part of the soccer landscape with the USL now? Do they want to be a part of Major League Soccer? Do they want to go to USL? Do they want to do both? The economics to launch the Division I league, to me, will be interesting. And you have to look at things improving in aspects that you don't necessarily think. It's the stuff that we don't see in the day by day. It's the stuff that we do see in the day by day that doesn't quite register, that you might take for granted when it comes to the running of a franchise. All of these different economic aspects of it. And the monitoring of the success rate of getting folks to jump into this idea. Well, like I said, contingent upon that Division I launch, then the other two pieces fall into place. Darin had mentioned, 30, 36 franchises in USL League One. The Southeast footprint has always been strong in USL League One. But we have always mentioned the idea that you would have hubs and that you wouldn't touch each other until you got to the playoffs or the postseason. So there's a lot of things in play here to keep an eye on. Who dives in, who comes in from the outside, who is on the inside that wants to dial it up financially, and how you're going to execute it. And this was also a point that was made yesterday in the initial press conferences that were had by Ian Cameron and by Darin yesterday with South Georgia Tormenta. You got to focus on yourself. You can't compare yourself to others, because if you sit there and compare yourself, then you're prone to thinking too much about, oh, we've got to be like so-and-so. Well, no, you don't. You really don't. You forge your own identity in this. You're forging your own identity first and foremost with the notion of promotion and relegation being USL. But if you focus, and this is, and I'm dating myself with this particular reference, but it got to the point with the old USFL back in the 80s, after a handful of years, that they wanted to switch. They were spring football. They had spent a lot of money. They brought in a lot of talented players. You had some problems with owners and and locations. So where franchises changed. The Breakers went from Boston to New Orleans to Portland. The Washington Federals, they were not looked at favorably in Washington, and they had to bounce around. You had markets where you were successful. You were in large markets. But it got to the point to where a lot of the owners who had no real qualm about the purse strings, they're like, we've got to go fall. 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 Well, no, you don't. But you did. It didn't work. You took the NFL to court for a violation of antitrust. You won the case. You were looking for billions of dollars in damages. You got $1, which was tripled because of antitrust rulings and damages at the time. So you ended up winning the court case against the National Football League for violating antitrust policies. But instead of getting $1 billion in the deal, you got 3. Like change for a 5, 3. And that was the joke. That outside on the steps of the courthouse in New York City, the commissioners of the USFL and the NFL were standing there, and Paul Tagliabue pulled out his wallet and said, you got change for a 5. USL has to forge their own identity and focus on themselves. But there's a lot of stuff that they have to tackle. Franchises that want to be a part of that Division I aspect. Who from the USL Championship wants to go north? Anybody in USL League One want to go north and be a part of that first division? And then making sure that your financials are in place. And I'm talking down to each individual franchise here, to where your long-term stability walks in concert with the desires of the league. Because what you also don't want to do is you don't want to have situations like Northern Colorado. You don't want to have situations like Central Valley. You don't want to have situations like Lansing, where you're a one and done and you don't benefit the game on the whole. That's the other aspect in all of this. You don't want to do damage to your individual markets by looking at the plate in front of you and going, yeah, I think I can polish that off. And then you get halfway through the the salad and you have your couple of slices of bread and you're working on your entree and go, man, that's a lot of food. That's the last thing you want to have happen in this situation. Is that you have all of this infrastructure and all of these ideas in place. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, I can't invest. I can't keep up. I can't do this. I can't do that. I got to go. You're not benefiting the game, and you're not benefiting your individual market by stepping in and then realizing that you don't have the resources to compete in whichever league you're in. I mean, when you think about it right now, with USL League One, just as our example, it is AV Alta, which is Antelope Valley in Southern California, north of Los Angeles, up in the mountains, through the mountains, Lancaster, California. Charlotte, Chattanooga, Forward Madison, so Madison, Wisconsin, Greenville, One Knox, Naples, Portland Hearts of Pine, and P-Hop with their marketing has hit home runs each and every time. Are they going to continue in the present tense to continue to be stable? Right now they're playing at Lewiston High School with their games on the board, at least for the early games. Richmond, Statesboro, Spokane, Texoma, playing at Sherman High School's Bearcat Stadium, Omaha, and Westchester, New York. So you got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of your franchises currently operating. Half of your league is in the southeastern footprint. Sarasota Paradise, when they come in, will be 8. Teams looking to come in, Corpus Christi, who played Chattanooga FC and lost. And so they were a one and done. So Sarasota working their way through the ladder right now. Corpus Christi, they played an Open Cup already, heading into USL League One. But in these markets, the last thing that you want to do is sit there and go, okay, I'm in. And then when promotion relegation, if everything falls into place, you get your Division I league. You have your corporate structure where it's the Division I league, the championship, and League One. Then you don't want to sit there and it's, well, I mean, are you going to be satisfied just being a League One team? Are you satisfied just being that franchise? It's like, yeah, we're cool. We're happy to be here. We're great. We know what our limits are. We'll be fine. Or, this is always my fear in these situations. When you have the idea of a new league, that it will be, yeah, and all the bright lights and everything. And then when things start to get tough, you're like, no, I can't handle it anymore. And then you either try to find a buyer or you end up dissolving, and that does nothing any good. So I guess the message out of this is caveat emptor. Buyer beware. You know the task in front of you if you're USL. You know where you want to go. Next couple of years, you got to figure out how to get there. Satisfy all of the markers with U.S. soccer. And then make sure that you maintain instead of get to a point, burst through the door, like the Kool-Aid man, and you just go, oh, yeah. And then you're in the room, and it's like, oh, I made a mess coming through the wall. What do I do? How do I clean this up? And then have that be the problem and the question. So obviously we'll keep an eye on it over the next handful of seasons. And probably what we should do is catch up with all of the different owners here in this footprint and figure out, okay, where do we go? Where are you? What is your thought in all of this? Where are you? Where do you stand? How are you progressing? Knoxville renovated the downtown baseball stadium to turn it into a facility. AV Alta took the Lancaster Jethawks baseball stadium, and they've converted it. I don't know if you had the chance to see the scenes that were there for their first match. But they've done some renovating, and they have the permanent stands and things like that in the end zones behind the goals. And so that's So those steps are being taken. But as you continue to go forward in these processes, be wary of the steps that you take, understand the steps that you take, understand the hurdles that are coming to you, knowing that there are things that need to be improved, and go from there. So like I said, it's something that we'll keep an eye on over the next handful of seasons, and we'll see where we are. But it's always great to be able to catch up with Darin Van Tassell and find out what's on his mind in one of the more successful stories of soccer, not just in the Southeast, but across the United States, where you go academy, you invest, you have a title in League One, you have a title in USLW in the same season. And now you're continuing to grow and grow and grow. And now you have promotion relegation announcements. And you know that there are some things that you had already planned that you are trying to continue to work through. Stadium construction, live, work, play, etc. So these are all of these things that you've got to work toward. You had your own laundry list before this was added, but now it's something else to work toward over the next couple of seasons. Last night in Open Cup, we mentioned all of the cup sets that were there. Late night Spokane Velocity. Took them a while. Took them north of 90 minutes, but they beat Ballard 1-0. LAFC 2 put 7 on Arizona FC. Monterey Bay put 4 on International San Fran. El Fadelito took them a little while, but they scored on a penalty in the 115th minute, I believe. And it was 11-10. They had the man advantage after a second yellow turned into a red card for Real Monarchs. So El Fadelito advances yesterday. El Paso had 3 early on Harpos FC. They ended up winning that one 5-1. Little Rock Rangers probably was one of the big cup sets of the night, knocking off Birmingham Legion 1-0. Jonathan Wardlaw I texted him after the match last night. I said, congratulations. And he had thank you very much, big exclamation points afterwards. So a big night for Little Rock Rangers last night out of the Gulf Coast, knocking off Birmingham Legion. Lex SC put 5 on Southern Indiana. Des Moines Menace at a plus 134 on the road beat Sporting Kansas City 2-1. If you can go on YouTube and go back and watch the match or have it on in the room, the fans at the Sporting Kansas City 2 Park, I give them a lot of credit for trying to come up with imaginative chants when Sasha Klestion was stepping back to take the penalty that would eventually give them the 1-0 lead. You had the fans chanting AARP. And Sasha Klestion did manage to, post-match, talk about the analyst-heavy Des Moines Menace. But Des Moines gets the win. They advance 2-1 at Sporting Kansas City 2 at a plus 134. So they were a road favorite. Things flipped in that one. Initially, Sporting Kansas City 2 was the favorite. And then by the time that the match kicked off, the odds flipped. Menace were the favorite at a plus 134. They won it 2-1. They advanced. One knock shutout App FC 3-0 at a minus 125 in Boone. Messi and Friends 2 beat Miami United at a minus 104, 4-2. Virginia Dream knocked off Richmond Kickers, another one of the big upsets yesterday, 3-1. Virginia Dream, by the way, were at north of plus 540. Chattanooga FC beat Corpus Christi FC in the extra 33, 1-0. And they now, on their social media, they know who their next opponent is. It is Chattanooga Red Wolves out of USL League One. On their social media, meaning Chattanooga FC, they said, we will be playing the team from East Ridge. 10 minutes separating the two teams. They're going to be playing at Fort Finley. And Chattanooga FC is like, we're going to be playing the team from East Ridge in all the releases and all the social media. And then Columbus Crew 2, no problem with the New York Renegades at a minus 204 by the final of 4-1. Today, once again, we mentioned the matchups, and it's a chance for our buddy John Schuster in U.S. Open Cup to see what is going to be a part of the magic of the Open Cup. Forward Madison hosting Duluth FC at a plus 446. Forward Madison and the Mingos are a minus 204. Long Island and Charlotte Independence. Long Island is hosting at a plus 112. Charlotte Independence is almost a plus 200 in the composite. Mentioned Tormenta. Tormenta is a minus 526 against Harbor City. 90-minute draws a plus 536. Harbor City to win outright a plus 847. 7:30 Carolina Core hosting Soda City. And someone, literally as I'm staring at it, put a massive amount of money, juice boxes on Soda City, because initially when I started to stare at the numbers, Carolina Core was a minus 2,000 in the composite. As we're talking, the juice box number went from a minus 2,000 to a minus 1,667 in the composite. And that's 7 different juice box purveyors combining to come up with that number minus 2,000. Those 7 combined once again, the number went to minus 1,667, and now it's fluctuating wildly. It went back to minus 2,000 literally as we're talking. Soda City is a plus 21.22 to win in 90 minutes. Your draw is a plus 990. And then at 7:30 at Northern Kentucky University, I imagine that's where this is going to be. FC Cincinnati 2 is a minus 10,000 hosting New York Pan Cyprians at a plus 30.40. Your 90-minute draw is a plus 1,200. The last one on the board is tomorrow. New York Flatirons and Union Omaha. Union Omaha on the road, to Darren Van Tassel's point, plus 131 as a road favorite. Flatirons are a plus 147, but I would fully imagine that Union Omaha, the Murder Owls, are going to be going from Omaha to New York and then coming to Atlanta. I do not anticipate them going with a match on a Friday, taking on the New York Flatirons, that they're going to go from Omaha to New York to play on a Friday, turn around and come down to Statesboro. Actually, that would be next week. So anyway, it doesn't matter. So you would have that weekend off for Union Omaha. So Union Omaha flies out today. They go to New York, take on New York Flatirons tomorrow. And then next weekend, it's plus 131 right now for Union Omaha, taking on the Flatirons at a plus 147. So that's the remainder of your U.S. Open Cup schedule. And yes, Abby, DVT has a different meaning in the medical world, without question. Absolutely true. Morning, Harry. Morning, Rich. And yeah, Rich, everything does come down to the financials. It does. But you can have solid financials within the context of your own business and still be okay. You just can't get, your eyes can't get too big, is what I guess my overarching message is. All this stuff is cool if you end up with TV partners that want to look at everything from USL from top down and sit there and go, yeah, we're going to invest more. And yes, if you do get promoted, you will end up with a financial windfall to help you out. You know, America's rich second, probably the second richest, because the America's richest playoff game would be the one that goes from championship to Division I. So America's second richest playoff game would be the USL League One to the championship. And you would have some financial help there, but you can't overextend yourself. You don't want to do detriment to the game. Oh, we got promoted. Let's get, our eyes get really big. Honestly, all you have to do is have a conversation with Jessica Charman about owners and sketchy owners and investing and, standards and practices and all of that stuff. All of the things that would be involved in that. So just to give you an idea of the pitfalls of something like this. So the table right now, we'll go to the championship, because in England, once again, Premier League Championship, League One, League Two. The championship to me is the largest red flag for promotion and relegation, because you have owners that want to continue to invest, but they invest and invest and invest, and you end up with issues that are attached to that level of investment. So right now, let's go full table. Leeds, Sheffield United, Burnley, Sunderland, West Brom. 5 of the top 6 right now have a history in the Premier League. It's been a while for Coventry City. Outside of that, 7th, Bristol City, no history. Middlesbrough, they had a one and done with Aitor Karanka as head coach, or they were up for maybe a season or two. Didn't last very long. Blackburn, after they were relegated, they've never been back. All you have to do is go back and look at the video when they were going to be relegated, and the Venky's chicken restaurant, the Venky's family that owns the chicken restaurant, somehow someone at Ewood Stadium smuggled in a live chicken as a form of protest for Blackburn. Blackburn has not been back since they've been relegated. Watford is 10th, 5 points out of the playoffs. Millwall, it's been a while, I think, since they've been in the top flight. Sheffield Wednesday, it's been a while. Norwich, they've been promoted in the past, but I think that when they lost their primary ownership with the woman who is the equivalent of Martha Stewart in England, they haven't had the financials. They haven't been back. Preston North End, I don't think they've been in the top flight, or if they have, it was at the very, very beginning. QPR, it's been a while. Swansea, it's been a while. Portsmouth, remember, they had to go through liquidation, and then Michael Eisner and his group tried to buy them, and they've tried to turn them to head back up. They were all the way down in League Two. They're now back in the championship. They're probably going to stay in the championship. They're 4 points out of safety. They probably will stay because there are teams that are worse. But they haven't been back to the top flight. Oxford United, they're on a roll. Hull City, they've been relegated. Now they're back in the championship. So they went from Prem to championship to League One, back up to the championship. Stoke, struggling, 1 point away from safety. Cardiff, struggling, 1 point away from safety. Derby, they had points deductions. They went into League One. They're back in the championship. And right now, all things being equal, they would be also heading back to League One. Luton is in free fall. After what happened last year, they were in the Premier League, went into the championship, and this year they've only won 9 of 38. They're currently in the relegation zone. So they could be going in a couple of seasons from the Premier League to the championship to League One. Plymouth Argyle has made their climb up from League Two. They're at the bottom of the championship. They'll end up in League One. So promotion relegation, that's that, just to give you the example of the championship and the money that's being thrown at it. You can throw all the money in the world at it, and it doesn't help if it's not managed correctly and you don't find the talent to dig into it. Hour number 2 on a Thursday. We know what that means. It means that we catch up with our dear friend and his security detail in Lima, Peru. And we find out what is going on when someone comes in fully loaded. Because there's a lot of ish going on around the world, and we always go to this guy to talk about all of the ish, good or bad. Yellow, yellow, yellow. What is up as we go fully loaded on a Thursday?
Yellow, John and Yellow Soccer Down here, fans. And here we are on another Thursday, absolutely fully loaded here. CONMEBOL is on fire. Copa Libertadores is on fire. We got a couple of things from across the pond, and I'll tell you guys in a second. It's going to be fun. So I'm all pumped up about to be here like every week, brother.
As always, and we always love it when you drop by. I have the 4 topics. Like I said, I haven't seen them. So this is my first chance. One of the things that I wanted to discuss has to do with transfers in Portugal. So what we'll do is we'll go with my topic number 5 or 4B, and then we'll get into your topic about red cards in Portugal. So we were talking about Sporting.
Yeah.
And the idea that Sporting players would naturally be gravitating toward Manchester United because of Ruben Amorim, and him wanting to basically turn Manchester United into Sporting North. But
right.
of course, Chelsea now has come into it, and they've gone into the candy store, or they've gone into the toy store, and they're like, ooh, we like Kendo, we like Isugo. We're going to go and chase after them and get them instead. So Manchester United, who is in a lurch financially, has to kind of sit there and take it, while Chelsea is interested in 2 of the young talents from Sporting. Not the direction that we were looking at for the young talent coming from Sporting.
Well, with Chelsea, man, Chelsea is a pain. Chelsea is a pain for everyone because they buy players and they don't use them. They buy like I don't know how many players they have in the roster. It's just ridiculous the number of players that they buy every single year. They ended up playing in, I don't know, Lithuania or something. Okay. So it's just, I don't know. It didn't make a lot of noise. But I think that Ruben Amorim has the upper hand on this one. Okay. I think Ruben Amorim has the upper hand on this one. If someone's gonna be in the race to get these young jewels from Portugal and to go to Premier League, Ruben Amorim has the first choice. I'm telling you that right now. He has the priority. I'm telling you, that there's no doubt. There's no doubt that he has a priority. We'll see what happens in June, but for now, I'm going to tell you that Ruben Amorim is going to move the pieces, and he's going to make some phone calls. And hey, but they're putting more money. I don't care, brother. You want to see Manchester United out of Europe again? No, right? You don't want to see that happening. Okay, nope. So let's put money down. Let's put the money down, because this being in 13th place for a giant team like we are, it's not acceptable.
And there is a scenario that was laid out by, I want to say it was by the Premier League, where if you finished 11th and certain things happened, you would be playing in Europe next year. It's like so-and-so had to win this tournament, so-and-so had to win this tournament because of the math and all this. If you finish 11th, there is a scenario where you do get into Europe next year.
They need to get there. They need to get to 11th place, brother. It's just, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I have my doubts. The way that things are going with United, it's crazy. I have serious doubts, brother, that they're gonna crack the top 10 in the Premier League. You know, what's it's gone now. Hold on a second. Don't go away. Don't go. Hey, no, I'm looking at 13, right? It says 13. Let me see the points here. They're 4 points away from Brentford, and Crystal Palace is ahead of them. Yeah, we'll see, man. There's a lot of games still on hand, right? It's like, what is it, 7 more games to go. So
Okay, so here's your scenario. Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, and Man City all qualify for the Champions League if that's your top 4. Right. Newcastle qualify for Champions League in 5th. UEFA awarding an extra place for English clubs' performance in Europe this season. So that would mean that right now it would be Brighton in 6th. So the 6th place gets in. Bournemouth finished 7th, qualify for Europa by winning FA Cup. So if Bournemouth wins FA Cup and finish 7, they go to Europa.
Oh,
Chelsea.
Yeah, forget about that.
If Chelsea finish 8th, they qualify for Europa by winning Conference League. So Conference League, if they win, they go to Europa. Chelsea goes in. Villa finished 9th, qualify for Champions League by winning that competition. Obviously, that's a tall order, but still it's out there in play. Manchester United or Spurs finished 10th and could qualify for Champions League by winning Europa.
Oh, they have to win Europa, man. There are a lot of.
I know. Like I said, that was the scenario that was laid out, man. That's a lot of hoops to jump through. But
it's a lot. It's a lot of pieces to move in order to squeeze my Manchester United in. I'd rather just sit tight and I just watch the competitions on TV this year, because if we qualify, we're gonna be horrible. So yeah, no, thank you. I pass. I'd rather watch the game on TV, brother.
Yeah. So the fees, precise total for the package for both Isugo and Kenda, 74.4 million euro. Kenda has a fixed fee of 51 with a further 1.3 million euro in add-ons. Kenda's joining in 26. Isugo's fee is 22, and he joins this summer. So 2 young talents go to the toy store that is otherwise known as Chelsea. As Todd Bowley Bowley Clear Lake just want to go like this. No, you can't have my toys. And he just kind of sits there and he's like this. So 74 points for Kenda and Isugo. Just all the toys. All right.
That's I'm telling you, that's a steal. That's a steal for those 2 kids, man. 74 for those 2. I'll pay it. I'll pay the money.
All right. So since we're in Portugal, I'm going to skip to topic number 4, where it says a red card set fire to the rain in Portugal. Who are you, James Taylor?
Brother, it was crazy, right? It was crazy. I was calling this Porto game over the weekend. We're facing ABS. It's a team that there's dead last in the competition. They're really in the back side of the story here. With my friend Memo Cho under the pipes for ABS, suffering in Portugal. But there was a red card, right? So red card to this Uruguayan player, Nacho Rodriguez. He got the first yellow in the first half, and then the second half was 2 minutes, boom, red card. And I was like, hold on a second. Wait a second. There's this another red card in a Porto game? So I tweeted it, right? I tweeted, hey, there's another red card in a Porto game. Oh, surprise. Although this one was absolutely right, the call, right? Brother, you have no idea how they used to love me in Porto. Not anymore. They don't love me anymore in Porto because I said this. And then it was this backlash. Lots of people throwing a lot of stories, right? And then I said, hold on a second. Let me check the stats because I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of red cards. And in Porto games for the opponents. So I went to the stats. I checked every single game. 12 red cards for the opponents in this season. How many in the Benfica games? 2. How many in the Sporting Club games? 1. So I put the facts in there. All right, these are the facts. Oh my God. Going again. Boom, 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 boom. Lots of stats. So on Tuesday night, we go to the Tuesday nights, the Leo Portugal podcast that we do. And I have a member of the Porto side, a Benfica guy, a Sporting guy, everyone from one team. And the Porto guy broke down every single red card, right? And turns out that, 99% of the red cards were in the 89th and between the 89th and the 94th minutes of the game. When the games were already decided, right? So it was kind of like, it was crazy. It was awesome because it just created a thread. Everyone was writing to me, messaging me, sending more stats. They sent me stats from the 2003 season where Benfica got more red cards and like unreal. Only for one red card and one tweet. Over the weekend.
You sit there and you're just kind of like, well, you look at the red cards. You see when the red cards happen. You see, so. You're like, right. Okay. And so what you have done, sir, is you have given food for thought for everybody when they come and watch you on GOLTV and they watch the coverage of the Portuguese League. It gives them something to sit there, they can hang their hat on and watch when you're calling the matches on GOLTV. You can keep an eye on the red card count. See that?
Yeah, and I keep an eye on every detail. And I love to catch the details. And sometimes people write to me, bro, how do you find that? I love details, man, small details. That it's crazy. I remember one time there were, it was a halftime, and I was giving all the insights, talking about the highlights, and then they put on the screen this beautiful lady, right? She's so beautiful with the colors of the Benfica. I don't know who it was. I was talking and I went mute. I was like, oh, for 5 seconds, right? And the people start sending a message. Nino, what happened?
You're like, well, I'll tell you.
I went black for a second.
Well, I'll tell you. Did you see who was on the screen? That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. We are in the international window. And it is that time for folks to leave their clubs and go and play for their country. And right now, there you see, he's ready to go. FPF, he's ready to go repping the country. And you have your qualifiers going on, and CONMEBOL is its own kind of crazy. Not that that's any new news or anything like that. But right now,
Oh,
here's how it is. The top 6 go in of the 10 nations that are currently participating. The 7th goes into a playoff, probably I think it's against Oceania, and in all intents and purposes, unless something happens we don't know about, you're going to get 7 teams getting in from South America. After 12 rounds, and you play 6 more matches. And by the way, we'd like to congratulate Japan for being the first team to qualify for the 26 World Cup early this morning. Argentina, 5 points clear of Uruguay. And then that's when the fun starts. Uruguay at 20 points. Ecuador, even with a points deduction by the Federation, 19. 2 goals ahead of Colombia. And it is...
and with a penalty also, because they got 3 less
so
points
Ecuador's
than
at
everyone else.
19. Colombia is at 19 with 1 less win. Brazil is at 18. Paraguay is at 17. So basically 3 through 6, 4 teams, 2 points. Bolivia right now is in the 7 slot. They have a horrendous goal difference at a -14. But Venezuela is at 12 points. Chile is at 9. And Peru is at 7 with some work to do with 6 matches to go. So please explain the chaos, sir, for those of us that are not living in it.
My God. It just it hurts every time, and doesn't matter how many times I see the table, and we are at the bottom of the table. But the crazy part is that we're gonna fight Bolivia tonight. That's number 7, and then we're gonna fight Venezuela on Tuesday. They're number 8. So if we beat those 2, we climb up to the 7th place, just like that, just like that. The only thing that we got to do is win 2 games in a row, something that we haven't done yet in the entire qualifier. We only won 1 game, 1 single game on these qualifiers. We got a new coach, interim coach. We got new names coming into the Peruvian national team. But you got to be honest, man. I got to be honest, Johnny. You say, like, don't lose the faith, but keep the faith. Well, things like the faith left my house a couple of weeks ago or so, because I haven't seen her in a while. So faith is not with me right now. I don't think that we're gonna make it. And I don't want it to make it. You know, I just don't want this team to go to the World Cup. This is ridiculous, right? But I don't want it to go, because I don't want it to go, because it's going to be horrible, brother. It's going to be a horror party when Peru goes to the World Cup. Just imagine, all right, Nino, Riley, this is the 2026 draw. Who's in your group? Germany. Who's in your group? It's Japan. Who's in your group? Nigeria. Boom, we're done. We are like, no, I don't want that. It could be a different story, right? Because there are more teams coming into this competition, but no, it's ridiculous. Right? As crazy as a soccer junk that I am, a big fan, but I also understand that I want my team to deserve what they get, you know, and I don't think that we deserve this right now. If they win these back-to-back games, who knows? It might change if they win back-to-back games, we're back in the race.
Yes.
We're back in the race. I don't think we're going to win, brother. I don't think we're going to win back-to-back. We're going to beat Bolivia tonight. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right? I don't know if a 0.5 nail, 1 nail, 1/4 of a nail, whatever the result is. We're going to win tonight. It's not going to be pretty, but we're going to win. But then we got to go to Venezuela. Right? And Venezuela, let me give you, out of the last 5, they haven't won in the last 5, okay? But check the rivals. They got points against Argentina. They got points in Brazil. All right, that's the other draw, and that the third draw. I don't know who that was. The third draw that they have in let me tell you, Uruguay. Okay, Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay. So if you get points from those three, you got serious chances to advance, because then you got to play to the teams on the bottom half of the table, and you got the chance to beat it. And the Sergio Batista is doing a phenomenal job with the Venezuelan team. So it's really complicated, the situation from Peru, and I don't see the fire. I don't see that inner fire that tells us, they're gonna fight and they're gonna probably make it happen. But no.
Okay, so I got two more topics, and then our buddy Niko Moreno is going to join us at the last half hour to talk Major League Soccer. What's this about a Copa Libertadores party?
Oh, the Copa Libertadores party. Yes, sir.
Yes.
All the groups are set. All the groups are set on Monday. And it's crazy that in the qualifiers, we don't have a chance. But I feel like the Peruvian teams, for the first time ever, we have a chance to advance into the knockout stage of the Copa Libertadores. Even though we have top groups, because Universitario plays River Plate, Sporting Cristal plays Palmeiras, and Alianza Lima plays Sao Paulo. All right, those are the big dogs that are in each group, and the good news is that they're gonna face them in the first round, in the very first round, in this April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's when the Peruvian teams are gonna kick off the Copa Libertadores participation. I'm telling you this, brother. For the first time, I believe that we can win.
Okay, you believe that you can win. Okay, all right.
Yeah. For the clubs, not for the national
Okay.
team.
All right. So there we go. Yeah. So all right. So I'm looking forward to it, and we can discuss all of the things, and we can do all of that. All right. So topic number 4. Topic number 4 on the list for our friend here, Nino. Another genius decision from the Peruvian Soccer Federation. So the man's wearing the jersey. He's sporting it proud. And now he's looking skyward going, what in the ish is going on with my federation? Because right now, by the way, you are a minus 238 in the juice boxes tonight against Bolivia, who's a plus 767. So you're a prohibitive favorite tonight.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to do with the actual qualifiers. It has to do with the Copa Libertadores, because in the first rounds, the first 2 rounds, it's on April 2nd and then April 9th. But in between, there's a Clásico in the Peruvian tournament. It's Alianza Lima versus Universitario Deportes, the 2 biggest clubs in the nation facing each other, but they have 2 Copa Libertadores games in a week. So there was usually what they do is this. All right, you got this game in the middle. Let's postpone this game for another time to give you time to prepare for the international competition. Right? No, sir. No, we're not going to do that. We are not going to do that, because this is I'm quoting this guy. Because I believe that our clubs are well prepared for this tournament, for this Copa Libertadores. They invest in the players, they invest in the infrastructure, so they are ready to face this challenge. And I believe that they don't need the extra time to prepare for those games. So we're not going to postpone those games. Keep playing, guys. Keep playing. I'm cheering for you guys. But no, if I can free up the calendar for you, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to free up the calendar for you, because I trust you. I trust in your powers. I trust in your abilities.
You almost gave us the explicit rating this morning, sir.
Man, it's why? Why? I mean, this is why are you playing against you? Why are you playing against your own teams? If I had the chance to give more possibilities, an extra, every single detail matters, right? If he can give you an extra day to rest, I will give it to you, right? you are representing my country, representing my league, that they're dead last in the competition. That's why when it comes to the Copa Libertadores draws, we are in the last group. So the chances are that we're going to be in the group with at least one Copa Libertadores champion or at least one Brazilian team. So you're going to get out of there and go move into the group 3, maybe group 2, maybe alongside with Independiente del Valle, with Liga de Quito, with those guys that are ahead of you, because the Ecuadorian league is in a different consideration in CONMEBOL right now. That's why they're in the second. They're not the third. In the second group, which is 4 groups, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. First group is with the champions, with the highest teams in CONMEBOL. Then the second ones and the third one, and then we are in 4th, dead last. So yeah, you gotta play with the big dogs every single time when you go into a group stage. But yeah,
it is, so if I'm looking at the group stage correctly, with all, good Lord, you've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 8 groups.
8.
Estudiantes, Botafogo, Universidad de Chile, and Carabobo are in A. River Plate, Universidad de Deportes, Barcelona, and Independiente del Valle are in B. Flamengo, Liga de Quito, Deportivo Táchira, and Central Córdoba are in C. Sao Paulo, Alianza Lima, Libertad Asunción, and Talleres Córdoba are in D. Racing Club, Fortaleza, Colo-Colo, and Bucaramanga are in E. Internacional, Bahia, Atlético Nacional, and Nacional, not to be confused. Do not do that ever.
Right there too, from Colombia.
That's F. Palmeiras, Sporting Cristal, Bolivar, and Cerro Porteño are in G. And Vélez Sarsfield, Peñarol, Olimpia, Asunción, and Bulo.
I know, San Antonio de Bulo. This is crazy, man. Never heard of that team. First time I hear. First time I noticed that team.
Those are your 32 in the group stage, and the matches in Copa Libertadores start on April Fools. Is the first day of the group stage.
Yeah.
Estudiantes, Carabobo hosting Estudiantes, Cerro Porteño, Bolivar, Bucaramanga, Colo-Colo, Fortaleza, Racing Club, Alianza Lima, Libertad Asunción, and Barcelona of Ecuador against Independiente del Valle. The only road team that's favored right now is Colo-Colo, and they are a plus 127 at Bucaramanga. Actually, I take it back. Estudiantes is favored at a minus 135 going to Carabobo. So that's your early look at the group stage in the Copa Libertadores. Where are you? What you calling this weekend, sir? What are you doing?
It's a pretty chill weekend because it's a FIFA international break, so I only got a couple of games. Only the Uruguayans are playing. Uruguayans play rain or shine, brother. They don't care about the international breaks. They just keep going. They just keep playing.
Kind of like the U.S., man. They're just like, yeah, whatever. Major League Soccer is playing this weekend too, so I get it. Let's see. So today, in the Uruguayan League, Montevideo City and Juventud and Peñarol and Liverpool. That's today. Then Saturday, it is Boston River and Racing Montevideo. Are you going to get your Kentucky folks to talk to you about Boston River?
Yeah, of course. They always pumped up about that, brother.
Nacional and Plaza Colonia, Defensor and Cerro Largo, and then on Sunday, Progreso, River Plates, CA Cerro and Danubio, and Wanderers and Miramar. Where are you?
I'm on the Nacional, Plaza Colonia, and Cerro versus Danubios. Nacional on Saturday was at 5 p.m. 6 p.m. Because you're 1 hour ahead. And Cerro Danubio is 5:45. So 2 games for the weekend. Pretty chill weekend for me.
4:45. I think they finally get the time change here this weekend. So 4:45 Sunday and 6 o'clock with Nacional and Plaza Colonia on your Saturday. As always, my friend, it is great to see you. GOLTV, fully loaded. You have your Tuga Tuesdays where you get to talk about anything and everything. What else on the schedule have I missed? What else is going on?
No, nothing else. But the next week, even though I got a pretty chill weekend, throughout the week, Uruguayan League goes all in, man. We got like 2, 3, 4, 5 games during the week. So it's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be a crazy week
As
ahead of
always,
us, man.
my friend, it is great to go around the world with you in 30 minutes, where we get to talk about anything and everything that's on your mind, where you get to educate us and remind us about the world's game and what we're missing out on when we don't get to see it through your lens. As always, my friend, great to see you. Glad you're safe. Where's the protection detail?
Hold on a second. Let me.
See, this is what happens when he moves things. So he moved his computer, trying to find the protection detail. I'm going to hang out here because he's going to plug everything back in. Yeah, see, he unplugged it because he was moving his computer trying to show us the protection detail. And no, I know how this works. Do I just?
Yeah, you know what? Hold
Yeah.
on. I'm here, right? I'm still back, right?
Yeah, you're back. You're good.
Back, Johnny.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Just 1 second. Don't go.
Okay. See, this is where we check in on the protection detail every single week, just to make sure that that Nino is truly and totally protected when it comes to anything and everything.
There he is.
There, and he's like, "Bruh, you woke me up.
Yeah, woke you up, huh? That's
You
my
wo-
boy Coffee.
You woke me up, man." He is it just like, yeah. I'm like, he's looking at us like, "Put me back in bed now. Put me back."
Thank you, guys.
That's fantastic. That's great. Be safe, my friend. We'll see you next week. Just be safe and be well.
Right. You too, man. Take care.
All right. So, but no, that's funny. The fact that I just had this vision. It's like, why are you picking me up? Why? It's the way it is with all of our furry protection details. The security detail here is hanging out with the boss, by the way. Yeah, he's 2 floors up today. He is not here. He is not here because the boss is upstairs. The boss is 2 flights up. And for those of you that may not know, yes, this is the boss's fat head. This is her fat head from when she was performing a couple months ago. And her coworkers created fat heads for herself and the rest of the band. And so, of course, when her performances were over and you got to kind of sit there and go, woo, in the crowd, I said, no, I'm bringing the fat head down here to the office. So, yeah, this is the boss's fat head. And so, for those of you that have not had the opportunity, yes, this is the boss's fat head. And so, yes, this hangs out in the office. And so I know people will sit there and go, what is that? Well, it's the boss, and she's on a fat head. And so that's how this works. So, yeah, so the boss is on a fat head. And so she hangs out in the office, except when she's not here, the rowdy man is below camera level. When she is here, the rowdy man is with the boss 2 flights up in the other office. So that's where we are. But no, we love Nino very much, and we love his security detail just as much. And so it's always great to catch up with them and find out what's going on because, like I said, we get to go around the world. So let's see. Today we did Portugal, we did South America, we did CONMEBOL, we did Copa Libertadores, and all points in between. So that's what we're here for. But no, as always, it's great to catch up with Nino and find out what's going on in his mind. And coming up around the corner, that's our buddy Niko Moreno. And we get to find out about the crises that are going on in Seattle and find out what in the wide world of sports is going on when it comes to everything that's engaged in Major League Soccer as we continue. So Nino mentions that the Uruguayan league continues. Major League Soccer continues as well. And so we've heard from Laurel Failer. We found out what's going on there. By the way, we'll end with FC Cincinnati and Atlanta United, but right now FC Cincinnati at home is a minus 130, where most of the offense looks like it's intact for FC Cincinnati. The back line, as Laurel mentioned yesterday, kind of a work in progress, kind of a work in progress. And so it might look like a couple of different things. So no Denke, no Hadibi, no Flores, maybe no Miles. We'll keep an eye on that. Maybe Laurel will crash in the second hour on Friday and let us know what's on her mind there. No Shirilla, no Miazga. So she was anticipating Alvis Powell and DeAndre Yedlin as your center backs. Alvis Powell is, by comparison, not the tallest of individuals, so it might be an advantage for Atlanta United on set pieces and crosses. So she was thinking it was going to be Alvis Powell, DeAndre Yedlin as your center backs. You've got Engel and Powell and possibly Nick Hagland, and Yedlin maybe as a part of your back four if you keep your 4-2-3-1. And you have Sergi Santos, Yuya Kubo. Just ask Jared about Yuya Kubo, Corey Baird, Evander, and Luca Orejano, along with Wobodo and Buka probably as the two that would be in front of that back four. So looks like, obviously, kind of like Atlanta United, the offense is probably going to be in place. So the offense for Cincinnati, short of not having Kevin Denke, should be about as normal as it is, but the back line would be suspect. For Atlanta United, Miranchuk, Saba, and Latelat are all there. Miguel Almiron is on international duty. So you're wondering what it's going to look like in the midfield. You're monitoring the health of Mateus Click. We'll talk to Maddie tomorrow. Maddie is going to crash tomorrow, and she'll let us know what's on her mind. Jason will be in as well to talk about what's on his mind. Hour number 2 will be the weekend whip around, patent pending, trademark coming sooner, hopefully, rather than later, when it comes to everything Major League Soccer and specifically Atlanta United. Maddie was in her car this morning and she checked in. And so we were mentioning the fact that Jillian Sakovits picked up her Marshall Islands jersey. And so now we just need for Maddie to remind Jillian that Maddie is the one who's modeling the scarf. Once again, before Niko comes in, let's go through all of the other promos, and we'll say hi to everybody who's here this morning. Once again, Grady Baby Co. Collaboration there is to help out middle school soccer programs attached to Atlanta Public Schools. Soccer is just better in Atlanta. You can get it in the red or the black, gold embossed, t-shirt, sweatshirt, SDH logo here, Grady Baby logo here. Olive and York helps out our Soccer for Good campaigns. And with that, you can get your first ever SDH jersey modeled by our Sophia Cupertino, our Madison Cruz, and our Greg Garza. You can get the Navy jersey, and you can get it, once again, Kaiser Permanente on the front, Soccer for Good on one, Beyond Goals on the other. Get it personalized. It can either be in the white letters and numerals or the Carolina blue letters and numerals. That can be how that goes there. Also, you can get that, and it's the old school floppy collar and those kinds of things. So very, very cool from our friends at Olive and York to help out there as well. Don't forget that you can become a Fanatico. You can become a Fanatico, and we'll get into that as well. But once again, $10 a year, you get to be a Fanatico. You get a bunch of discounts. You get to join on our Chant app. So it is group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join, and you get to be a Fanatico. Group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. You get to join us on our Chant app and get a bunch of discounts at a bunch of really cool places, including Chateau Arenal in Costa Rica, by being a Fanatico. All right. Last half hour here on a Thursday. We know what that means. We know that means it's time for someone to check in with his probably second cup of coffee, might even be his third. So we'll go to Seattle. I mean, how many shows can go from Peru to Seattle back to back and find out what's going on in Major League Soccer with our buddy Niko Moreno? Niko, which cup of coffee are you on, sir?
I'm on number 1 so far. Am I too high up here? I had to move because of other lighting purposes, but yeah, man, just cup number 1. We are getting on our way. Lots to talk about here with MLS, with the Seattle Sounders, where the clouds are looming, and they say that when it rains, it pours, and boy, has that been the truth for this Sounders team. The West has been the Wild West. It's been fun.
Yeah, well, it's been fun, except for you having to cover the Sounders at the Providence and Swedish Funhouse. I mean, the Funhouse has not been a funhouse for you. You mentioned clouds and storm clouds and everything. I mean, what is the vibe right now with what's going on in Seattle with what isn't going on in Seattle?
Look, the overall outlook of the team isn't great, as it shouldn't be. They just got bounced off CCC. They have a bad result in St. Louis, and in between all of that, you lose a lot of players. Looking into the future, there's a hope that, and we have been told that the Sounders are out there looking for a replacement for Paul Arriola. So what does that look like? Is still to be determined. It's not going to be anything that's going to blow anybody off the shelf or anything like that. It's not going to be a U22 signing. It's going to be more of an MLS experienced player that can come in and contribute. But when you look at the last two games, there's just a lot of consistent issues. This team cannot continue to have anomalies or mistakes that, yes, they're nothing more than mistakes, but that's what's costing you games. In this one against St. Louis, it's a slip from Jackson Reagan. He touches the ball with his hands. It's a reaction thing. I'm not blaming the guy, but you do give a free kick on top of the 18, and Lowen puts it away for St. Louis, and that's the game. You're unable to do more offensively, which going into the season, I had sat it here in front of you in your audience and told you that it was going to be more dynamic, that it was going to have a lot more goals. And although the chance creation has been there, because it has been consistently, whether it's in parts of games or in entirety of games, regardless of not getting the results, against St. Louis, you were hoping that Jesus Ferreira was the guy. The Jesus Ferreira who was going to take over for Jordan Morris, who's out 4 to 6 weeks. That was going to be that guy that you were going to depend on, because that's why you brought him on, right? You brought him on to be that guy that was either going to play with Jordan or instead of Jordan if you needed to. And it just didn't look good. And he looked like a guy that had not played the 9 for this team since he's got here. And lack of communication, lack of understanding of where he wanted to be. He had some good runs. He really did. And I'm not worried about Jesus Ferreira, the player, but I am worried about Jesus Ferreira, the player for this system and team, because he had not gotten the consistent minutes up there. So I was happy to hear Brian Smetzer yesterday at Sweetest in Providence Performance Clubhouse say that apparently he's been in restriction of minutes. So, man, that's news. That's kind of what I've been looking for when I'm asking about Jesus Ferreira. The truth will set you free, baby, and that makes sense, right? If you're restricted with minutes, that's the reason why he's had, limited minutes up there, limited minutes in certain places. So, can this team get better? We really hope so. But after Houston, you have a 3-game road trip. 3-game road trip. Not easy. So the depth of this team is really going to be tested, and it all starts this weekend in the Niko Lascodero comes home with a chip on his shoulder game. Some people are calling him the revenge game. I'm not going to go that far, but I am going to say that Houston and Niko Lascodero are coming here to get a win.
And in looking while you were breaking down the situation for Seattle, you only have, and this is the numbers that were published 2 weeks ago, it appears Seattle only has a little over $1,100,000 in Garber bucks available to have anybody come knocking on the door. General allocation money as of February 29th, Seattle has $1,152,648. So that is the GAM that is available to Seattle if you're looking for some kind of a replacement for Paul Arriola. By comparison, I mean, Atlanta's about the same. Dallas has over $2.3 million. Houston's got $3.7 million. Sporting is about the same. Messi and friends signed yet another player, and it's a loan deal. So I imagine it's a straight GAM up. So they had $3,151,000. Minnesota had close to $4 million. NYCFC has over 4. RSL has over 3. All Caps has 2.6. So you're kind of in the lower half when it comes to anybody that you can chase with only $1,152,000 in Garber bucks available.
Yeah, I think, and I'm not 100% sure because numbers are now my strong, but I think that if they put Paul Arriola in the end of season list, they get 600 back, I think.
Yeah, so that puts you to 1.7.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're going to have to work with. And, when I look around the league, they're going to be looking for players that are experienced, that are within that range, and that the salary is not going to be too high because they're not going to get someone with a 2-year contract that they're going to have to pay next season. So, they're limited. A couple of the guys that I'm looking at are interesting. Some I don't really get, but we're gonna have news hopefully for you guys here in the, if not next couple of days, but by next week hopefully. But Sounders are active out there looking for a replacement. So can that make a difference? Absolutely, absolutely. I think they do need someone to come in and just add more depth, right? So when you look at this team, and I look at the starting 11 in St. Louis, it was a good starting. You,
Oh,
you guys going. You need to be able to be that guy that you were hoping he was going to be at the ninth position. You got to get more out of Manungu, more out of Polariola, more out of Albert Rusnak. Look, Albert, he does a lot of great things, and he's a great link-up player, and he makes every set piece important for Seattle, something that they haven't had in the past. But he just hasn't had that moment to just say, this is my team, this is where I'm at, this is why I'm here. And I think that's what people have been looking for. And he's going to have to amplify his game for Seattle to do better.
the starting lineup, by the way, and I am going to ask you about the penalty call that wasn't called late. It was Stephen Fry, Nuhu, Bell, and Reagan as your back three, your midfield four, Rothrock, Vargas, and the Roldans, and then your up front three, Rusnak, Jesus Ferreira, and Georgie Manungu. That was your starting lineup out of the blocks last time. On the bench, you had Musovski, who came in for Ferreira, Kalani Costa Rienzi, who came in for Rothrock for the final 10, and Danny Leyva, who came in on a double change for Christian Roldan. You sat Jacob Castro, Andrew Thomas, Travian Sosa, Cody Baker, Stuart Hawkins, and JP. And so that was what you did last time out in the 1-0 loss. I know that there was a lot of hue and cry, and we talked about it on Monday with reffing down here. But what did you think about the late penalty call that turned out not to be called?
I didn't have much of a problem with it. I know that some people did, because what is or what isn't a natural position of your arm in that specific moment in time. But I think that whenever you are making a soccer move and you're going towards goal and the ball bounces into your arm and you are either better positioned or still in control of the ball by that arm pushing that ball forward, I get where they were going with it. The frustration sometimes is the inconsistency in the call, and how maybe it might defer around the league. But in that specific moment, for what had happened, as much as it hurt me both watching the game and in the juice boxes, by the way, I do not have an issue with the refereeing in that one. Obed does get his arm kind of low, the ball bounces forward, he takes a shot, puts it away. So yeah, I think that there was merit to take that goal back, unfortunately.
Yeah, someone, one of our plus ones, one of our A-listers, mentioned someone like a Kremoski, and Kremoski being chased after by Spurs. I'm thinking that the price tag for someone like a Kremoski, these days you're looking at a heavy-duty price tag to bring him in, no matter who you are, and that's why Spurs was interested. Right now, he is listed he's listed as a straight up player for you, contracted through 27 with an option year for 28. They signed him to that new deal leading into this year. Coming into last season, or at the end of last season, he was only getting a salary of, I think, about 202. So it would fit, but you know that in the current game state where you can do the deals that are outside the normal ideas of swapping Garber bucks, you could do a straight up purchase of someone like that, but it's gonna cost you a boatload of money if you wanted to try and chase after someone that young and that talented.
Who said this?
One of our plus ones, in the chat. Jordan Kremoski on the market for Messi and friends. Spurs were interested, and so he was wondering if you could do the interleague purchase or the intra-league purchase with someone like a Kremoski, a young talented person who might be under contract for a while and a salary figure that would fit. That was just
it's a very good idea. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a good idea. And yes, it would cost a lot of money. But that's an astute comment there. Let's just say this. Okay, so let's put that out there. I think Romanski is a player that could definitely help out in the inside channels. If you're gonna continue with this 3-4-2 or 3-5-2, or the house sort of formation that they at times play with those two cams or those two inside guys behind that 9. He could also play out wide for you on the 4-2-3-1. I mean, he can do a lot of things for you. But yeah, Kromaski would be a U22 initiative.
Mm-hmm.
He would definitely be a big purchase, and the Sounders would have to come out of pocket with that. And that's what I don't know if Adrian would have the I don't know what's called it, the backup financially to just do that right at this specific moment in time.
Yeah,
but it's a very good thought. That's all I'm going to say.
The financial wherewithal, I believe, is what we would be looking for here. The financial wherewithal is like would Adrian Hanauer be able to sit there and go into the jeans and go, all right, so let's see.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be one of those. And obviously, those of us in the Eastern Conference, Jordan's like, I want to see him off of Fort Lauderdale's roster. Do it. Seattle can afford it.
He's going to start a GoFundMe, huh? Okay, well, that's not good.
Exactly. Like Mr. Hanauer, sir. Mr. Hanauer, there's someone in Fort Lauderdale with Messi and friends that we'd like you to pick up, just so we don't have to.
Yeah, and look, you got two U22 spots essentially. He's a national player potential guy. He has a ton of up potential as well, and he could do a lot of things in the midfield. I think he gets underrated and underused a lot of times. So yeah, I would not hate that move.
Yeah. So yeah, next time you go to the Providence and Swedish Funhouse, you sit there and go, "Yo, Adrian. All right. So here's an idea. I was on with a show. I was on the morning show in Atlanta, and one of the viewers was like, yeah. Kromaski, yeah, go after, and just the look on that'd be. Adrian said, "I'll take that under advisement. I like that idea." He said, so, and he wanders off, and he gets on his cell phone, talks to Raul Sanlehi down at Messi and friends. Yo, Raul, here's an idea. Well, what would it take to get Kromaski off your hands and get him one of those interleague purchases? Yeah, we'll go with the new rules.
We got to get Jordan in because he's definitely looking in the right places. That's all I'm going to say. But
all right. So last week, with what went down in the league, Toronto still got problems. Red Bulls went crazy and had a back and forth with the purple team. Chicago's still winning. Austin shocked LAFC. DC and United and CF Montreal. If anybody watched that, I pray that you get that 90 minutes of your life back somewhere. NYC beat New England. New England's in trouble. Charlotte beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati's injured. And Sporting Kansas City, we were all kicking dirt on Peter Vermes after 45. By the end of 90 minutes, we're like, where did this come from? In a 3-3 draw. We mentioned all caps. RSL beat Houston. You don't know which Houston team you're going to get these days. Vancouver continues to win. Colorado beat San Jose in a bit of okay. San Diego continues to get points. Nashville beat Philly. We said Philadelphia's got all these goals, and all of a sudden Nashville scores the goals that Philly's used to scoring. Portland and LAG end up in a 1-1 draw, and then Messi and friends, and an 89th minute trickling header the other way from Fafa Pico beat Atlanta United in front of 44,000 here. What are some of your takeaways from last week?
Before any of the scores, if you look at the standings, it's anybody's game. I don't know who had Vancouver running away with it on their bingo cards, but man, that has been an impressive run. Vite doing a little bit of everything. This Vancouver team, even last game, they were not brilliant, but they stayed in the game. They created a lot of chances, and they took an opportunity on a set piece to go away with that score. Now 12 points for Vancouver. I mean, absolutely amazing. I thought San Diego did fantastic against Columbus. They go down a goal early. They continue to play their game, very direct, conceding possession, and then they wait, yes, for that moment where there is a red card, and then they make that extra man count, and then they just completely put Columbus under heels. They're all over. They get the equalizer. It seems like a dryer is just waiting for you to have that line a little bit high to just get behind you. Look, they got two goals called back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, both of them were offside clearly, but this team, man, they know exactly how to attack and when to do it. And talk about set pieces. That's a team that's dangerous in set pieces. It seems like they always have a pre-work setup, whether they're playing short on a corner kick or they're taking advantage of free kicks. They use restarts very smart. I just think that they are an efficient soccer team. Like they know exactly how to create tempo, when to create tempo, when to press, when to play direct. I mean, man, this team is just a smart soccer team. So definitely impressed with what San Diego's been able to do in general. LAFC, man, it just you don't know which team you're going to get either. I mean, that game against against Austin was a bit of a snoozer, to be honest, compared to what I thought I was going to get, right? But Austin does their thing. They get the win. So it's just anybody's West right now, to be quite frankly. Dallas is another team that we just talked about Vancouver, but they seem to be struggling. And then Real Salt Lake. Last week we said Diego Luna needs to be a bigger piece of the puzzle. Boy, was he. Boy, was he. You talked about Houston. They're coming here in the weekend. They also got a call taken back by an obstruction offsides, which I hate that rule, on a really good goal by Bassi. But Real Salt Lake with Luna look a little bit different, but I still don't think they are even close. They're not even a shell of what they were at one point last season. But it's a work in progress. So the West is all over. Sporting Kansas City against Minnesota was a game that was fun to watch, but anybody who is into soccer is like, man, that should not happen, right? It should not happen.
3 goals in 12 minutes. That is not allowed, especially if you are a fan of Eric Ramsey, the white T-shirt, and the quarter-zip pullover. All right. It's that time. I'm going to save 2 games to the end. You know what 2 games we're saving. We're saving Atlanta and SC Cincinnati and the return. The return. I just use capital T, capital R. The return. We'll save that one for late. So I'm going to give games. There's something that you want to talk about, go ahead and interrupt and we'll rock and roll. The 4:30 Eastern, Minnesota United, LAG. Minnesota at home is a -106. LAG at the bottom of the West is a +261. No real surprise that they're at the bottom of the West with the pieces that they're missing. 7:30 night side. You got a lot of East Coast games. 7:40 start. Charlotte at a -152, hosting San Jose and Bruce Arena at a +371. Crew hosting NYC at a -133. NYC is a +375. Red Bulls in Toronto. Red Bulls a -149. Toronto is a +420. Purple team.
You watch that game, by the way.
Yeah.
You watch that game. I'm not watching that one. Pot of coffee next to your bed.
Yes. Purple team is a -135, hosting DC United at a +332. Not watching that game either. Philadelphia and all caps. The Bradley Carnell Derby. It's a chance for revenge in Chester. Union a +120, and all caps are a +206 on the road. 8:30.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean 8:30 Eastern. Nashville is -169, hosting CF Montreal, who's a +424. Don't watch that one. Sporting hosting LAFC. 8:40 Eastern kick. Sporting, basically, they've just thrown a blanket over the whole thing. Sporting is a +161, draws a +241, and LAFC is a +156. So they're both within the margin of each other's error, within five juice boxes right now for either side to win.
Yeah, I just want to see the Philadelphia St. Louis. What's the draw on that one?
+249. So basically a +2.5.
Yeah, that I like. Look, St. Louis does look good. They are a team that knows exactly what they want to do. They overpopulate the midfield. They have a really good defense. I mean, Kessler was unreal against the Sounders, and he would not let up. They just put a wall in front of their 18, and Manungu had nowhere to go. He would try to go vertical, but he had to go horizontal, and Seattle just couldn't get in. Philadelphia does have the means to get through that, but I feel like this is one of those games where it's going to be such a chess match, and I would love to see Cornell win, by the way, but I do think that this is going to be a draw. The other one that was interesting was the San Jose Charlotte. What's San Jose at for that game?
Plus 371.
Look, man, call me crazy on this one, but I don't know why I have a feeling about San Jose. They need a bounce back game. They have the means to get in Charlo's backfield. Patrick Adjemang's going to be gone, obviously, with the U.S. national team. So I like that one as well.
Colorado and Portland, 9:30 Eastern time, which means 9:40. Rapids at home, minus 125 with the Rabid Prairie Dogs. Portland is a plus 300. RSL hosting Dallas. RSL is a minus 108. Draws a plus 257. Dallas is a plus 272. I guess for the sake of RSL, be glad that you're playing there at Rio Tinto as opposed to playing at Zions Bank with Real Monarchs, because El Farolito went in and took care of business last night in Harriman, Utah against Real Monarchs. Took them a little extra time in Open Cup, but El Farolito and the Burrito Brigade got the Duke last night, knocking off Real Monarchs. Vancouver hosting Chicago. This one's interesting for a couple of different reasons. Vancouver, a minus 110. Draws a plus 247. Chicago on the road, a plus 294. It's tough to go to Vancouver and play. Greg Berhalter's got him doing well early out of the blocks. Vancouver and Chicago, sneaky good.
Sneaky good. And I actually, Chicago back-to-back road wins, right? And they've done it in a very Berhalter manner. They seem to they're finally getting Cyprus more involved. I like it. And I know that Vancouver's going to be missing a couple of guys for international duty as well. So can Chicago do it on the road? I like the numbers. I really do.
Draw, by the way, is a plus 247. So if you want to bail out and do the draw at a plus 247, you're still not really hurting yourself that much. Chicago to win a plus 294.
Hey, look, the shoe's got to drop at some point. I'm going to go with Chicago. Shoe's got to drop at some point. There's no way that Vancouver is going to go completely away with it. So that one's more of a gut call than a soccer call, but I like Chicago there.
All right, and then Sunday afternoon, it is Austin FC at Q2 hosting San Diego. Austin a minus 102. San Diego on the road a plus 242. No Chucky, no problem so far. Draws a plus 271.
No Chucky, no problem. And I actually like San Diego in that one. I really think that with that 4-3-3, they can cause Austin some headaches. And if anybody's going to be able to handle what Austin can do, both when it comes to being on moments of transition or when it comes to the set pieces, that has been a good call for Austin. I think San Diego can do it. Man, look, San Diego knows exactly what they want to do every single time, man, and they look as dangerous as can be. If they can just check that end line and make sure that they're not offsides, man, I think they should have more goals than they do. So, yeah, man, let me get San Diego. What's the goals there for that San Diego game?
All right, let's check the goals and see where it turns over for.
They're like 2.5.
Okay, so let's see where 2.5 is. As you see now, you're working the beard. You're sitting there and you're thinking. So I see where this is going. All right, so 2.5 is a minus 140.
Oh, wow.
So 3 is a plus 122. 3.5 is a plus 177.
Those are too rich for my blood. Those too rich for my blood. Yeah, but I'll take San Diego in that one though.
Yeah, I think that there is no flat 2 number, but there is a flat 3 number, and that's when it changes from a minus to a plus. All right, lay it all out for us. What's the rundown for you and Pulso Sports and lobbing water balloons at people and all the things? What's going on?
Well, hold on. We didn't talk about the two games, right? It's Cincinnati and Atlanta.
Oh, crap. Yeah, we didn't talk about the two games. We got to talk about that's on me. So we got to talk about the return. So let's talk about the return first. What do you think, Houston and Seattle, where Seattle a minus 145, Dynamo a plus 401, draws a plus 261. That's me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna excite anybody with anything. This is gonna be a draw, and I am almost certain this is one of my lock-ins for the weekend. Houston tends to know exactly, especially with Benny Ball, that they know exactly how to limit and how to stop what Brian and the Sounders like to do. We saw these teams go back-to-back zeros in the playoffs. I mean, they know each other well. And is the Niko ball? I like Niko coming in here. He looked good last week. He put his teammates in a couple of real good chances. One barely goes by Ponce. I don't know how he misses that header. But Niko's going to come here, like I said, chip on his shoulder, just heavy motor, trying to get it done. But I still feel like, although it's going to be an entertaining game, I feel like it's going to be a draw. I actually like the 1-1 in this one, but it's definitely going to be, in my opinion, a draw. It's going to be a skill set of give and take, and I just don't see it going beyond that.
All right, and the first game on the board, FC Cincinnati and Atlanta United. FCC is a minus 130. Atlanta's a plus 322. Draws a plus 280. Both offenses seem to be pretty much intact except for a couple of folks. So Miguel Almiron on international duty for Atlanta, Kevin Denke on international duty for Cincinnati. The back line for Cincinnati decimated.
That's where I'm going.
With a lot of injuries, and then you add
a red card.
And the red card from Flores. So could look a little different. And I mean, you have at the back for Atlanta, Amador, Derek Williams, and the return of Brooks Lennon. You've got to figure out the fourth position and figure out what that is, but your scoring is there for you. And I mean, this one might be intriguing for a bunch of different reasons. What do you think?
I think it should be a gimme. It should be a no-brainer, in my opinion. Look, Atlanta let me down last week, and I feel like they had all the components to win that game. If they're not shooting themselves in the foot and just gifting messy goals, they probably have that game, and they get that one called back by lots as well. The intensity was there, the volume of play. They just kind of, I don't know what they were doing in the back end. I really don't know. Building out the way they did against a team like Messi is just going to lead you to a loss. But I feel like there is something there. This should be their bounce back game. Atlanta, don't let me down back to back, man. But I think this is their bounce back game, so I like them in this one.
All right. Now tell me what else is going on with what you and Pulso Sports and lobbing water balloons, and what else you doing on a weekly basis.
Yes, sir. So Friday, of course, tomorrow we're going to have what we learned this week. Lots going on. We're going to have another special guest in that one, so check it out. Hopefully it's Sounders legend there talking to us about the team, where they're at, where they're going. Obviously, with the Niko return game, is going to be fun getting his takes on it, but it's not completely locked, so I won't say the name. Then, of course, Mondays with Lobbing Scorchers kickoff. We'll break down the entire weekend of MLS, focus mainly on the Seattle Sounders, of course, and the Western Conference. And then today, man, you could go look at Albert Rusnak talked about Niko's return. He talked bracketology with his daughter. I mean, it was a fun interview with Albert Rusnak. And then, of course, Brian Smetzer talking about his return, watching the game from home because he was ill. He couldn't watch. He obviously didn't travel to St. Louis. So how he watched that game, he called watching the 1-1 between LA and Timbers, like somebody, maybe somebody shoot me in the head or something. I mean, he did not have fun watching that game at all. So yeah, it was an interesting one with Brian. He also gave some positives for the team. Kim Kihei and Reed Baker Whiting seem to be close to being in full form. So go ahead and check that out at Pulso Sports YouTube channel.
As always, my friend, great to see you. Please have a safe weekend. Get your second cup of coffee. Finish your first cup. Get your second cup and we'll catch up with you again next week. As always, my friend, great to see you. We love you very much. We'll catch up with you next week.
You're the man.
All right, so that's Niko Moreno, and so he's got, there you go. Yeah, the rave green, there it is. I see him working. There it is. So you got the rave green in before he got out the door. So at El Rolo NW, at Sports Pulso, and at Sounder at Heart for all of the intel that we get from Niko on a weekly basis. All right, I haven't had the chance to say hi to everybody. This is where I am this morning because we were flying around so fast. I haven't had the chance to say hi. Doctor from the Yard. DR from Yard in our pro rel discussion, definitely increasing excitement and following for local clubs. Morning, Abby. Morning, Abel. Ewan is expecting significant infrastructure investments in Tormenta. That's and I think that's a universal question when it comes to infrastructure. What do you want to do? What do you think you need to do to be ready? And Darin mentioned how the stadium is in the process of being completed, and you've got Red Rocks and you have the stadium, and so it's all a part of the process for getting it done. What other infrastructure do they foresee needing if the pro rail comes to pass in 3 years, 2 or 3 years? So that is a universal question for every franchise in the chain. What are you looking at on the field? What are you looking at off the field? Bottom line, what are you looking at? So I think, you and I think that's the big question across the board. And what about the league? The league itself, not just each individual franchise, but what does the league think about infrastructure and significant infrastructure investments across the board? So let's see. Morning, Abel. Morning, Abby. And yes, Abby mentioning DVT, a different word in the medical profession. Morning, Rich. Morning, Harry. Abby with the public service announcement. Remember, American Outlaws Atlanta chapter is at Fido for the matchup against USMNT. It looks like 7 o'clock is when the doors open for those of you that want to go to Fido and watch the USMNT. As a reminder, once again, the event at Moxie Midtown has been pushed back to next month for our third Thursday because of USMNT. Because of all of the things going on right now, first day of the college basketball tournament, the USMNT, all the things. So we're pushing that till next month for our first third Thursday event at Moxie Midtown. Abby, once again, on the follow-up, Sunday, American Outlaws are going to have a raffle for a team-signed 2010 jersey. You don't need to be present for the fundraiser, but she does have a PayPal link. So for those of you that know Abby, know how to get in touch with Abby, just make sure that everything is cool. If you want to try and a great fundraiser there. So once again, go ahead and dive in for that if that is your way. Also, Jordan, who is very, very busy this morning. Jordan, you've given Niko something to think about when he has conversations with Adrian Hanauer at Providence and Swedish bouncy house, fun house, and partying extravaganza. So you gave him something to think about. I'm guessing they're chasing after a U22 in the league that they think they can get at a decent price. So keep an eye on that. So Jordan this morning was watching Australia, Indonesia. Interesting. Many of the Indonesian players are really Dutch. I mean, I think. All right. So now you're going to have me Indonesia, native language. So Indonesia, if I could spell it. So Indonesia, we go to the Wikipedias. Unity and diversity with an anthem, official languages. Okay, so Indonesia, Malay, 280 million inhabitants, fourth most populated, 718 languages. Home to over 700 living languages spoken across the archipelago. Significant linguistic variety constitutes approximately 10% of the world's total languages, positioning Indonesia as the second most linguistically diverse nation globally, following Papua New Guinea. So, infrastructure, demographics, culture. Let's go to culture really quickly. Influenced by the Indian subcontinent, China, the Middle East, Europe, Melanesian, and Austronesian peoples. culture and customs of Indonesia, cultural heritage with UNESCO, Indonesian art and architecture, music, dance, and I'm trying to find. Let's see, musical heritage, Kong from Portugal, and 3,000 traditional dances, theater and cinema, traditional Indonesian theater, wayang shadow puppetry, often depicting Hindu epics like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. You have mass media and literature, cuisine, many regional cuisines, Chinese, African, European, Middle Eastern, and Indian precedents. Rice is a leading staple food, side dishes of meat and vegetables, spices, notably chili, coconut milk, fish, and chicken, fundamental ingredients. Sports, okay. Weightlifting, badminton. Liga 1 is the premier football league on the international stage. First Asian team to participate as the Dutch East Indies. There you go. That's what we were looking at. So they were the Dutch East Indies when they participated in the FIFA World Cup in 1938. So that was the what we were trying to figure out. So Dutch East Indies. That was when they were first in the World Cup. So Dutch East Indies, and they've come forward from there. Yes, and let's see. Jordan rooting for Colombia. Getting in the time zones. Peru better win tonight. Abby's like, please beat Uruguay. And then the matchup with Norway and Israel is in Debrecen, Hungary. Let's see. And morning, Tom from New Hampshire. Morning, Jordan, by the way. Raining in 50, thermal hoodie and shorts. Let's see. So Nash was an interesting place. So Abby's like, Jillian needs to show that on Twitter. The Marshall Islands, no doubt. Like I said, we probably should send Jillian a scarf or see if Jillian will invest and see the picture of Maddie holding up the scarf that we helped out for supporting the Marshall Islands. Abby's still waiting for her Grady Baby sweatshirt. Let's see. Yes, and so and there's Jordan with his general manager thoughts, and Tom Cato misses Kessler in New England. I imagine that folks I think a lot of Revs fans are probably missing a lot of the Revs players that are no longer there that got bumped out by Cardinalfo and by Caleb Porter that are now playing in San Jose. Just thinking. Let's see. So apparently Indonesia, a colony of the Netherlands, players would be eligible in a way. So there you go. Okay. So the more you know. Good stuff. Okay. Thanks again, once again, to everybody who's hanging out with us today. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Obviously, with what's going on today, you've got CONCACAF Nations League semis. You've got Open Cup on YouTube, on the U.S. Soccer YouTube channel. So a Nations League, Netherlands and Spain at 3:45 on FS1. Nations League doubleheader on FS2, Turkey, Hungary, Croatia, France, 1 and 3:45. Guadalajara and Atlas. So Chivas and Atlas in a friendly tonight at 9 o'clock on Fox Deportes. GOLTV doubleheader in the Uruguayan Primera. Torque Juventud at 4, Peñarol, Liverpool at 7. 2 to NA CONCACAF Nations League, USA and Panama at 7. Canada, Mexico at 10:30 Eastern. Universo, Brazil and Colombia at 8:45. Univision simulcasting the Nations League. FIFA Plus has 3, 6, 10 World Cup qualifying games. Mozambique and Uganda is done. 3 more at noon, all in CAF. 4 at noon, all in CAF. 3 at 3 o'clock Eastern, all in the CAF. 1 at 5 with the Comoros and Mali, and then at 10 o'clock in Oceania, New Caledonia, and Tahiti. Fox Soccer Plus, Nations League, Armenia, Georgia at 1. Fubo has Nations League, Austria, Serbia, 3:45. MLSNextPro.com, Houston Dynamo, Dynamo Dos, and North Texas SC at 8 o'clock. One Football has World Cup qualifying with Australia, Indonesia, Japan, Bahrain, Korean Republic, and Oman very early this morning. 2 more at noon, 2 and then 4 at 2:15. Iran, UAE, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan at noon. Qatar, South Korea, Jordan, Palestine, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, China at 2:15. Paramount Plus simulcasting CONCACAF Nations League. Pay-per-view, not available available on Fanatis if you want to pay for it. It is Paraguay, Chile, Peru, and Bolivia. Nations League, VIX has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 matchups, 2 at 1 o'clock, and the other 10 at 3:45. Brazil and Colombia is on VIX at 8:45. YouTube on the U.S. Soccer channel, it is the 7 matchups in U.S. Soccer in the Open Cup starting at 6:30 with Portland Hearts of Pine and Faialense. 7 o'clock, Long Island Rough Riders Charlotte, Forward Madison Duluth, Tormenta Harbor City, 7:30, Core and Soda City, Pan Cyprian Freedoms and FC Cincinnati 2, Tacoma Defiance and Washington AC is at 10 o'clock. So that is what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it on the day. Now, the gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we get out of here, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. I know a lot of folks are sitting there saying, well, what are you going to talk about? Trust me, there's plenty to talk about. So, no, I don't want to click on the pop-up window or the survey. I don't want it. Lille and Angel Gomez rejected an approach by West Ham despite the Premier League club offering him a £100,000 a week contract when his contract expires this summer. Arsenal interested in signing Moise Kean, previously had an unsuccessful spell at Everton. Tuta Mercato Web. United have added Benjamin Sesko and Hugo Ekitike to the list of summer targets from RB Leipzig and Eintracht Frankfurt. Manchester United are also interested in Xavi Simon from RB Leipzig, who was a target before he moved to Germany on a permanent. Real Betis is going to meet with Manchester United to discuss Antony, who's impressed during a loan spell. Bournemouth are targeting Club Brugge Belgian left-back Maxime de Kuiper, should they need to find a replacement for Milos Kerkez. Atletico Madrid, Julian Alvarez, not for sale. Chelsea's Noni Madueke, summer target for AC Milan. Chelsea could sell up to 11 players this summer, including Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell, to help fund a move for a striker. Barca want to, and it's from the 4-letter paper Plus, so apparently there's something Mail Plus subscription. Barca want to re-sign Messi to coincide with their return to the Camp Nou in summer of 2026. That comes from TNT Sports in Europe, not the TNT like Ernie Johnson and Magic and Barkley and Kenny Smith and Shaq, not them. TNT over in Europe. Raul Asensio set to sign a long-term deal with Real Madrid from Fabrizio Romano. Real Betis, one of 3 La Liga clubs, keen to sign Junior Firpo on a free when his contract expires at Leeds. Gateshead FC, tight-lipped amid ongoing speculation regarding a potential takeover at the National League club involving Victor Anakebi. Liverpool remain interested in signing Guevara Reed, who's 18, as a replacement for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Arsenal monitoring Luis Diaz at Liverpool. Newcastle confident of keeping Bruno Guimaraes if they qualify for Champions League amidst the midfielder being linked to Arsenal. So that's your day. That's what has gone on today, people. A lot of folks. A lot of things. So thanks for hanging out with us today. It was very busy. It was Darin Van Tassell, president and co-owner of South Georgia Tormenta, talking USL Pro Rel. It was our buddy Nino Torres at GOLTV, and he got to break down everything around the planet, everything from Libertadores to South America to Portugal, and we do that in a half hour every Thursday to start off hour number 1. Then Niko Moreno came in, broke down everything in Major League Soccer from the Pacific perspective, get you ready for the weekend, and what to expect from the Western Conference as we worked our way east. Tomorrow, we'll see how many folks I remember to email to see if they want to come drop in and give late updates on what's going on before we go to the end of the line when it comes to Major League Soccer. And literally, I've got to remember to do it because of you come in, you give 5 minutes, you say your piece, you get out. So we'll try and contact as many folks as I can remember to contact, and we'll let them chime in and let you know what's what. Remember, tonight, CONCACAF Nations League semis. We'll talk about that tomorrow, too. Hopefully, we can catch up with our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring. If we do that, that'd be in the 9:30 part, unless Michael Parkhurst and Greg Garza are touring the planet. Then, once again, hour number 2, we can whip around patent pending trader sooner, hopefully, rather than later. Tomorrow night, it is Oconee County at Jefferson on the network, 5:30 and 7:30. Then it is Academy Soccer Saturday morning with Maddie and Nick, atlutd.com/live at 9 o'clock. And then after that, it is Maddie sprinting down to be a part of pre and post for Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati at 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. Then on Monday, we have 4 days next week where we are doing high school soccer coverage. And it is going to be Social Circle, Kennesaw Mountain, Perry, and who's the fourth one? as I sit here and stare at it. May. No, you need to back up a page. Okay, so Monday, Putnam County Social Circle. Tuesday, New Manchester and Kennesaw Mountain. Thursday, Warner Robins and Perry. Friday, Parkview and Brookwood. So that's where we're going to be next week as our high school soccer coverage continues. About 3 weeks left in the regular season. Then it's the playoffs, and the sprint for the championships will be there. So not a whole lot going on, is there? Back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning in a little less than 22 hours. And once again, thanks to all of you folks who are here. Tom joining us from the cold-ish 50 degrees up in the Northeast. And thanks to all of you who came in this morning to listen to us, catch up with Niko Moreno, with Nino Torres, and with Darin Van Tassell from South Georgia Tormenta. So thanks to all of them, and thanks to all of you. We'll be back at it again to set your weekend up tomorrow, a little less than 22. Mucha plata, y'all. Play it safe, and since it is the end of the show, it means I get to do this. See you again, 9:05 tomorrow morning.